exact same teams other than the Tulkun being the one man out.
So this time we see Lulu go for the ban on Whiplump, and then Funky is just going to take out the hedge and not wanting that Generify setup. Lulu is more or less committed to getting the hedge and letting Funky have the hedge and setup. I think that does make some sense because Lulu does have Volphy Plague handcuffs to strip the status from Hedgen and pick up a quick kill with Water Cannon if need be. Funky with no electrics on the team. But Funky's like, I'm just gonna go for the move flank here. I am going all gas, no brakes.
I'm the GOAT. Ooh,
Yeah.
we have a Campfire coming in.
Campfire coming in. Great way to punish Funky's Valash, right? You've got two Ketsa synergies in the back. And there aren't too many great ways to stop the Quetzaleno.
The important thing here is that Lulu Jr. has been denied the pleasure of playing with Valash, which he has been using for closing the last two matches, and Funky has been allowed to play Valash in this match, which we know how much he likes to preserve and save.
Arboretems are not here. Are they bad overall? No, it's not that Arboretems are bad. It's just that Funky How is a very old-fashioned god. Don't worry, you'll see lots of... Yeah, you'll see lots of gears and moves from Arbory. Still, Claudonade, don't worry about that. But the Arboretems are quite good. As we get into the match here, we see that Funky does have the hedging combo in the back, but no Kinu this time. And in Lulu's case, I believe Lulu got to keep the Kinu, or that maybe that's the other way around. I'm not sure. We'll check. We'll press X when we start and get checked.
Yeah, Lulu has the
Marbles. Lulu has the double mental in the back, which is a little bit interesting to me. They're well positioned to deal with Funky's move flank, whereas he's kind of poorly positioned to deal with Funky's Valash if Will Smith goes down. So, wouldn't surprise me to see Luluchor try to save his Catfire here. And for Funky to try and save his Valash. And then that's sort of the battle that the two of them are going to fight for the rest of this game. Hedgehog has to sort of protect Valash from the Quetzaleno, and Will Smith sort of has to keep Valash off of Ventil and Barnshee. Inu comes in.
Protector on the Whiplump, interesting.
Protector Whiplump. Oh, and Funky doesn't blink. He absolutely just stays in on Valash and goes for the double
the ballsy
into the Whiplump. Yep. Whiplump, Water Cannon onto Valash, but look at the unnoticed. All of a sudden, this move like means business. Lulu does have big damage potentially coming out from the Beta Burst, but now with a Goring Crystal Spikes play, Cloudy, the Whiplump, is looking like it's going to be in a bit of a tough spot. A strong opening read from Funky How there, betting that Lulu was going to try and save Will Smith, and saying, instead, I'm going to target down your Whiplump and then beat you with my Tulkun and Hedgen, just clicking their ordinary attacks here. Bit of an interesting play there from Funky.
If Lelouch does decide to bring the move flank in, it is still taking some kind of damage, but it will deny the Valash the Scavenger procs at least for now, but it can still hit the Kinu pretty hard.
Funky now decides to make a swap out. It's going to be Tulkun coming in here. Is this Heater? Marbles. Not Heater. Valash goes for the synergy Crystal Dust. Oh, that's the target, the Ventil. Takes the Tornado, so Valash will go down here. But Funky saying the damage has been done. Side Revit. Gonna help out the Whiplump. But now Pyromaniac Tulkun is in a pretty good spot to deal damage. Alongside this move flank who can come in and start throwing down big time attacks.
But it is weak to Water Cannon as well, and Kinu can swap out for Campfire, right? Okay, actually, yeah, it can do that. But Wolfie will trap it in.
I like this pressure play from Funky, though. He is going to get a lot of damage here and does open himself up to making a good read.
Did Lulu got disconnected again, or is the timer just running out for Lulu?
I mean, this is a difficult turn.
Indeed.
Because you have to pivot Will Smith in somewhere here, I think, but I'm not sure exactly where. And also, like, you gotta be careful. Like, if you get plague locked, if you get plague cuffed and just like run down by Dust Vortex, that's pretty tough. Although at this point, I am starting to wonder if Lulu just DC'd again.
Yeah, dude. I was thinking the same thing because he's not responding, but here we go. He did make his decision after all.
It's gonna be Will Smith in the Campfire slot. Wow, look how much damage it still takes, though. The F token 8 turned on. But can't be flag locked if we try to go that way. No. Onto Cloudy. That's a 2-big KO on the flag. You can do the protector bonus, so. Water Cannon definitely hurt the token, though. Down it goes. Something that would definitely have threatened Lulu's offensive Kinu would have been that Pyro F-Chip Fiery Soul. But now that's no longer an option, and that makes it a lot safer for Lulu to use. It makes it a lot safer for Lulu to use the Kinu to do some work in this game. Funky has to be a little bit careful about that. Thankfully for Funky, Cloudy is definitely just dead to a double kick here or something like that. Kinu's coming back in.
Wolfie
Funky out
backing up.
swaps out. Smart swap. Very smart swap from Funky here. As long as he gets the kill on the with Goring. And it does. That's a great play from Funky. He's going to get another unnoticed proc, and he has
Hellfire ready.
Hellfire in play, yet Hellfire in play immediately threatens. On Lulu's side, he doesn't have anything that stops Hedgen from doing its job. And the Hellfire is likely going to come out here. What does Lulu have in the back? Emda can resist Hellfire, so maybe going to make that swap.
Tapper can
Funky.
probably take it, but Moflank is gonna still hurt hard.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, Funky does go to Wolfie here, saying, I've got to get damage on these Thames. Does Lulu leave? Lulu does not leave. Redirection device on the Kinu is going to pull over the Plasma Beam and save it. Metaverse was targeting the move flank. Oh, that is not very much damage to Funky's Wolfie, though. Unlikely a Tornado is going to finish that thing off. So Funky not expecting the redirection there, most likely. And is now at risk of sort of losing, losing the Wolfie here to a double in from the move flank or the move flank and the Barnchi or the Capire and the Barnchi.
Redirection Kino coming in clutch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a Plasma Beam into a Hellfire would have been really good. So Lulu does go for the goat here. And this is tough. Lulu kind of has to commit to getting hit by Microwaves or Hellfire. Or maybe he's cut Microwaves. Just a Plasma Beam here. Lulu
Banshee
retreats the
backs
Barnchi. Yeah. Just trying to play to this end game where he can get Barnchi in against Mooflank. Hedgen commits Hellfire. It's pretty good damage into Diabolos. Wolfie throws Plague at Will Smith. That's gonna
Will
lock
be
it in. Diabolos goes for double kick, targeting Hedgehow.
That is a good chunk of damage. 49% almost.
Does mean that Goring likely kills. Funky has the speed advantage though, but likely is going to need to use it to bomb this Capire, most likely.
Most likely, yes.
No, the synergy gets us too fast.
Ooh,
Wolfie
not
doesn't
enough.
die. Plasma Beam finishes off Will Smith. Flank goes for the Goring. It connects. Volpe slams the Dust Vortex. Move Flank hangs on.
Barely living at the moment. The question now comes down to again, is Plague faster than the Emanip? Do we have any speeds here? Moflang might go first, but...
So, Mooflank is definitely the fastest time on the board. If Funky kills Diabolos with it, then Lulu has to commit a bunch of different attacks here.
I mean, Lulu can go with Emanipping the Wolfie right now and then Gamma Bursting the Moflang next turn, right?
Yep, that's possible.
Although I'm not sure if we saw Lelouch using the Gamma Burst, because we saw a lot
There's
of
the
bunches
double kick.
today.
He commits Tornado, so if he does have Gamma Burst on this Banshee, then he's in pretty good shape here. So he can bomb it with Goring.
Neutrals killing
Whoa.
mentals, is that the topic
Beta?
of the day? Oof, no,
Oh,
it
it's
is
enough.
not.
It's enough. It goes down. Game 1 to Lulu. So to say, Funky could definitely have tried for the execution if he did a little more damage there to the Banshee, but not enough. Lulu takes game 1.
Game number 2, Lulu versus Funky. Same teams other than the Campfire. Let us see what changes they make in this ban phase, I believe, because the bans can be different. Lulu was denied to play Valash last round, and Funky was allowed. Even then, Lulu was up ahead at the very end. It's all about sending the message about the Valash usage that he can still take it head on. I'm wondering if Lulu gets to use that Valash Hejin anymore at all, and no, it does not. Hejin is banned this time. Valash is left open for Lulu to pick if he wants. Lulu is thinking about the same, I would say. East, are you still with me, or you got bopped again?
No, I'm just waiting for you to finish your thought. Yeah. So this match gets a little bit different because Funky's on blue now. I think that in this matchup, the player with blue being able to counterpick does have a pretty nice opportunity. So Funky can drop Valash here, yeah. And now Lulu's just gonna go Kinu Valash. And Funky
Hejin.
goes for Hedge and Valash, yeah. So Lulu may be varying up the strategy a little bit here. On blue, Funky gets to go Valash and wait. It's a pretty powerful thing to be able to do here. But now it's going to be Volpe banned out, and in response, Lulu says, oh, Lulu will not be able to play with Capire. Still going double mental, so Funky likely not going to bring Mooflank against this double mental. Oh, no, but he does. He does. Wow.
Thing here right now is Hejin can Generify turn 1, and turn 2 Hellfire is gonna hit really hard because nothing really resists that on Lelouch's side other than the Whiplump, of course, but he still will be taking a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, I imagine if I'm Lulu, I maybe just double the hedge in turn 1 here and see where we go from there, but Hellfire is also completely avoided by Volpe, so it's a bit of a risky click to go for in turn 2, but we'll see. I do think the early board state here is much more favorable to Funky than it was in game number 1.
Definitely.
There's the Generify turn 1. We'll see it pass. Beta Burst. Into the Hedgen. Maybe just trying to finish it off. Valash goes for Madness buff. And Artemis goes for Madness buff. So both players they're gonna reap the benefits here. Does Funky go for Hellfire, or does he simply just leave? That's another option he can do as well.
I mean, leaving is always a good option if he wants to just reposition and do it later on, but I think Funky might just go smacking.
This is a very jacked Valash, though.
Well, the thing is, Hejin is neutralized, so it is not immune to those. It is not resisted to crystal attacks anymore, and it could take a beating there as well. Which is why it was out, and looks like we have another sacrifice coming in there.
Alright, it's a pretty big Valash. To be sure. Now at +5 special defense. Laying into the Whiplump with +2 C spikes. That will be enough to KO too, so... Oh! Yeah, the nutrition bar. It's close. I think it's still enough to bring it down. But +5 SP def on this Valash creates a bit of a difficult situation for Funky for sure. He doesn't have any non-crystal damage on this Valash. So he kind of has to reposition here, but oh, it's not a good situation, I would say, for sure, yeah. Funky leaves. Going for the crucial buff here. This is gonna make the Synergy Crystal Spikes not bring it down. Coffee has Plague, however. And the Whiplump likely slower than Artemis. Oh no, but Lulu goes the other way. Spikes on the buff, how? This is fine. This is quite good for Lulu. He gets that buff going. And Whiplump, Tornado a little bit slow. Working on Coffee. It drops low.
Well, Wolfie can take care of the Whiplump now if required, and Lulich can focus on the other slot with just Sea Dust, I guess. We have a Mouflon coming in.
Yeah, Funky goes for the Mouflon. It's good pressure play from from Funky. Lulu will overexert if he tries to go for another Crystal Spikes here, so he has to go for the Dust. That's probably enough to finish off Whiplump, although after the Kinu buff, it's actually kind of close. Whether or not Dust will do enough. And then on Funky's side, he's got that double kick that he can deliver into the Volphy for a lot of damage here.
I mean, Banshee would be a safe swap if he really wants to be safe on Lilith's side.
Yeah, Banshee would be a pretty good swap in as well. But if Mouflon is able to protect Whiplump with the double kick here and force the Whiplump to stay alive, or force Lulu to commit spikes here, that would be quite good for Funky. As Lulu, I would say Lulu is in a pretty good spot right now. The Valash is incredibly powerful. Yeah, Lulu does have the Synergy Sea Dust that he can bring in too to get ahead. And that will probably be enough to bring down Whiplump as well.
Wonder if he does decide to do the swap.
Yep. Coffee retreats. In comes the Banshee to give the synergy. There's the Crystal Dust. The Plump goes down. Scabbed up. Move flank. Just goes ahead and throws the base jump at Banshee. Funky's still playing that stamina game with the Valash. Yeah, he can get his own Valash in here now.
You know, I think in this whole tournament we saw only like 2 or 3 times with Mom's Lunch, and almost no heavy hard stall teams, you know. Kinda a pretty mid-range-ish tournament today.
I wonder if Funky ever just M-buffs again. That is one way to do it, right?
Right now, I mean, he needs to find time to do it, and right now he is in a pressure kind of situation because the other Valash is +4. No, actually he's +2 as well. It's just sacrificed. Okay, he could do it.
Oh,
I mean,
the situation here is that Funky swaps out. Okay. Hedgehog coming in, maybe to take, if just in case Lulu went for spikes here. Lori retreats. Diabolos is in. This thing is going to take a ton of damage from Crystal Spikes. Yeah, it drops low. That's probably low enough that Hellfire does it, being totally honest. And yeah, the Sea Dust was committed. Hedgehog going to be able to resist that. And now Hellfire available, Generify available. I would imagine that Hellfire is probably the call here for Funky. And does he just M-buff again?
I mean, he can. He should probably do it. Right now is the time he should do it, because that will give him the edge that he requires over Lelouch's Valash.
I wonder if he actually just goes for Mouflank instead. Because Lulu can keep throwing dusts, but it's not great for him to do so. He's not really getting the maximum amount of damage out of Artemis here. Goes for Coffee. Okay. Hedgehog instead just goes for Fire Tornado. Onto the Valash, wow.
Balls.
Valash throwing the Crystal Dust. That was towards the Bargy, but Coffee takes it. Hedgehog takes the Crystal Dust. Does go down. Scavenger coming up. Funky's got the Mouflank. And the Mouflank just kind of has the pin here. I wonder if Funky is regretting not using the Fire Tornado to take out the Fulfi there.
Mm-hmm.
There's the double kick. We'll just take out Atem. Artemis throws the Sea Dust. Pretty good damage into the flank. And yeah, he does go for the double M buff, so we're gonna see a +4 Valash here on Funky's side. And it's well positioned. Lori comes in, but even with the dust, Lulu is only just going to heal up Funky's Valash, who has the stamina advantage. Crystal Dust definitely fast enough to take out.
I mean, I think this game is at a situation where at this point, even if Lelouch also goes for Madness buff just to get to the +4 spot himself, it would be okay, because Banshee is gonna die anyways, and there's a Scavenger proc about to happen anyways.
Banshee throws Tornado. That's smart. That's a good Scavenger proc. Lulu. Both Valashes go to +5. Both Valashes go to 100%.
Battle of the Valashes.
Lulu rests. So, I think if Lulu goes for M buff here, he can win maybe?
Technically yes, because he has that one extra special defense, which is going to be the...
Funky, yeah, gonna be the difference. Funky has to go for the... But he'll be at 30% less HP. Flash goes for Sea Dust. Down it goes. Lulu does decide to M buff here, so they're on equal ground in terms of their special attack. There's one more special defense. Funky's gonna see how much this does. That's about 20%. Artemis commits Crystal Dust. That's about 27%. I think Funky might have this.
The thing is, if he did on the last turn, then it would be better, because the Mouflank death would have healed him up again. So I don't know.
It looks like Funky has the faster Valash.
Someone was asking in the chat, like, how fast is your Valash, Funky, because he went after in an earlier game, but yeah, here we go.
Oh, but Funky does. He doesn't go for the spikes. I guess maybe double spikes would have overexerted here. But Lulu doesn't commit spikes, and it looks like Funky's just going to clean this up with the C spikes here. That should deal just enough to get him over the line. And I mean, how fitting in that a Valash versus Valash endgame. Funky how
showing how it's done with the Valash.
Ends up picking up the win. Very well played by Funky. Things get a lot harder for Funky in this game. Things get a lot harder for Funky because now he's on orange. He's not on blue. He doesn't have that counter pick option. So he's going to have to vary up his bans, perhaps. Also, Lulu may be considering switching up their bans as well. I know they got rid of... They've been getting rid of Whiplump. And Funky has normally been banning Hedge in here.
And the trend continues.
Yeah, it's going to be at ban. Lulu opening Whiplump this time. Playing the game a little bit differently. I think if you're Lulu, you're probably pretty happy with... You're probably pretty happy if you're Lulu with how your Protector Whiplump performed last game. Funky just gonna Keenu the Lash. He's hits the button.
Here we go. Do we have any Keenu Walash copy pasta for Funky How, guys? I remember there's a copy pasta for that.
Yeah, I really like this opener from Lulu, though. This is Water Cannon Quetzaleno is actually fantastic pressure into Funky's team. He doesn't have any tem that does well, that comes in and takes both of those moves very easily. So it's a pretty difficult lead situation for Funky How. This is just the difference. Funky picking very quickly, going right to move flank Hedge in the back. Lulu's not going to get to bring Keenu this game. It was banned out second, so both of the supports banned out. So Lulu is kind of just playing aggro here, trying to rush down Funky before he can get set up. And on Funky's side, he's got this Pyromaniac token in the back as well. Maybe going to be relying on that to bring down Valash, but there was no opportunity for Lulu to pick up either of his supportive Tems this game, so we do see Marbles coming in. Buff How going to be working the Protector.
That is the copy pasta for Funky Walash.
Yeah, it's got that Keenu buff already. Lulu opts to just give himself that synergy on the Catfire. Does Funky just stay in an M buff here? No, he stays in, but he C-spikes instead. Targeting the Whiplump slot, perhaps? Wolfsmith goes for Heat Up. Catfire going to be very dangerous. Buff out, throws Beta, throws it at the Catfire. So, wow, look at that damage.
Well, that Keenu is definitely with the gun.
All of a sudden, Wolfsmith not looking nearly as secure. It doesn't have any means of healing itself. And now Lulu actually needs to make a decision here. Which way do I throw this Quetzaleno? Wow, Funky's Keenu just absolutely delivering the goods here on turn number 1.
Oh, we have a cage.
Diabolos goes for cage. Oh, but Funky doesn't swap.
It's caged east.
Targets the Keenu. And Funky didn't go, but he didn't try for a swap either. He just stayed in and throws the spikes on the move flank. So still a pretty good turn for Lulu, though. He does get rid of the Keenu. And Funky doesn't commit any sort of damage to bringing down Wolfsmith. But if we look at... Since there were no swaps made, Funky drops his own move flank on the board.
The Battle of the Goats.
We know Valash can't leave here, so it's going to take a Ketsa at +1 defense. Heated up Ketsa does still kill, so Lulu gets full value for this cage, taking down both Tems here. Move flank. Double kick. Oh, and Diabolos hangs on. Terrible for Funky How there, as that means he won't get the unnoticed proc, and Wolfsmith is about to do absolutely brutal things to Funky at this point with that extra speed advantage. It looks like something that Funky is just gonna have a really tough time coming back from at this point.
Yeah, Lulu has gotten a lot of advantage in the last 2 turns back to back.
Yeah. The move flank living there really just kind of sealed the deal, I would imagine. In comes Token. Will Smith fires the Quetzalino. This will miss. Well, I mean, I said that it does 40. Yeah, it does 43%. Yeah. Funky is kind of opting to let Lulu have it on the Catfire, but Cloudy comes right in, and looks like it's going to be a bit of a tricky spot for Funky. Is he can try and get. I mean, Lulu no longer has press X for Sex Saga. Yeah, Lulu still has a swap that gives Will Smith synergy on Quetzal here.
Yeah, I mean, Quetzal is not the main form of damage you want to do right now against the fires, but still he's doing a good chunk of damage.
Yeah, and as long as he has the heat up synergy Quetzal, he's going to be able to bring down
Moflank.
Monkey's move flank for sure. Because we see the, would you see Hal flank swap in here? Because it's very likely that Hedgen is the one being targeted. Oh, would you see Generify come in? Bit of an audible called by Funky. Will Smith commits the Meteorite.
The
And there
Generify
goes
going
Hedgehog.
against.
Yeah. Yeah. And the water cannon is committed. But this should be an unnoticed proc. So there's some hope. You know, F-Soul plus Goring will do a pretty good down. Funky's had enough. He throws in the towel. Lulu's going to go on to our finals here.